In a small remote village nestled deep within the African savanna lived a boy named Kofi. The village was home to the Bakari tribe, known for their rich traditions, vibrant ceremonies, and profound respect for nature. Kofi, however, was not as fortunate as the other children in the village. He had been orphaned at a very young age, losing his parents to a sudden illness that swept through the region. Since then, he had been taken in by an elderly woman named Mama Sisi, who did her best to care for him despite her limited resources. Kofi was a slender boy with bright, inquisitive eyes that seemed too big for his face. His clothes were always a bit too large and well-worn, patched up numerous times by Mama Sisi. Despite his humble appearance, Kofi possessed a heart full of dreams and a mind buzzing with curiosity. Every morning, Kofi would help Mama Sisi with chores around their small mud brick hut before heading out to explore the vast savanna. He was fascinated by the wildlife, the plants, and the stories of the elders. He spent hours listening to the elders recount tales of the tribe's ancestors, legendary warriors, and ancient spirits that protected their land. One evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon, casting a golden glow across the savanna, the village gathered around a large bonfire for the nightly storytelling session. The chief of the Bakari tribe, Chief Jabari, stood tall and proud, his voice commanding attention as he began the night's tale. Long ago, in a time when our ancestors roamed these lands, there was a great famine. The land was parched and the rivers ran dry. The people were desperate and many lost hope. But in the midst of their despair, a mysterious figure appeared. No one knew where he came from, but he brought with him gifts that saved our people. These gifts were not ordinary. They were imbued with magic and mystery. The crowd listened intently, the crackling of the fire punctuating Chief Jabari's words. Kofi's eyes widened with wonder. He had heard this story many times before, but it never ceased to captivate him. The mysterious figure, known only as the Giver, would leave gifts at the edge of the village. These gifts included food, water, and even seeds that grew into bountiful crops. But the Giver never revealed himself, and to this day no one knows who he was or where he came from. As the story concluded, the villagers began to disperse, but Kofi stayed behind, lost in thought. He wondered what it would be like to receive such gifts, and if he could ever do something as extraordinary for his village. The next morning, Kofi set out early to fetch water from the distant river, a task he performed daily. As he approached the riverbank, he noticed something unusual. There, by the water's edge, was a small wooden box. It was intricately carved with symbols Kofi had never seen before. His heart raced as he approached the box and carefully opened it. Inside, Kofi found an assortment of items: a small pouch of seeds, a beautiful necklace made of colorful beads, and a leather-bound journal. He marveled at the items, each one seemingly ordinary, yet extraordinary in its own way. He quickly gathered the box and hurried back to the village, eager to show Mama Sisi. When he arrived home, Mama Sisi was sitting outside weaving a basket. She looked up, surprised to see Kofi so early. "Kofi, what is it? Why are you back so soon?" she asked, concern etched on her face. Kofi held out the box, his excitement barely contained. "Look, Mama Sisi, I found this by the river. It's filled with amazing things." Mama Sisi took the box and examined its contents carefully. Her eyes widened as she recognized the significance of the items. "Kofi, these are not just ordinary things. These seeds could bring us a great harvest, and this necklace, it's a symbol of protection, and this journal, it might contain knowledge we've never seen before." Kofi felt a surge of pride and hope. "Do you think these gifts are from the Giver, Mama Sisi?" Mama Sisi nodded thoughtfully. "It's possible, Kofi. The Giver's gifts were always meant to help our people. Perhaps you were chosen for a reason." Over the next few days, the news of Kofi's discovery spread throughout the village. The elders gathered to inspect the box and its contents, and they concluded that the items were indeed special. The seeds were planted in a small garden, and the villagers waited eagerly to see what would grow. Meanwhile, Kofi began to read the journal. It was filled with detailed drawings and descriptions of plants, animals, and ancient rituals. Some pages contained instructions for healing remedies, while others told stories of the tribe's past. Kofi's curiosity grew with each page he turned, and he spent hours studying the journal, hoping to unlock its secrets. One evening, as Kofi was reading by the dim light of a lantern, he came across a passage that caught his attention. It described a hidden cave located in the hills beyond the village. According to the journal, the cave contained ancient artifacts and more gifts from the giver. Kofi's heart raced as he imagined discovering the cave and uncovering its treasures. The next day, Kofi set out on his quest to find the hidden cave. He told Mama Sisi of his plans, and though she was worried, she knew she could not stop him. "Be careful, Kofi," she warned. "The journey will be dangerous, and you must be prepared for anything." Kofi nodded, determined to succeed. He packed a small bag with food, water, and the journal, and set off towards the hills. The journey was long and arduous, but Kofi pressed on, driven by the hope of finding the cave and the treasures it held. As he climbed higher into the hills, the landscape became more rugged and unforgiving. Kofi's legs ached, and his throat was parched, but he refused to give up. Finally, after hours of searching, he spotted a narrow opening in the side of a rocky cliff. It was the entrance to the cave described in the journal. Kofi squeezed through the opening and found himself in a dimly lit cavern. The air was cool and damp, and the walls were covered in ancient carvings. Kofi's heart pounded as he ventured deeper into the cave, guided by the faint light of his lantern. At the far end of the cavern, Kofi discovered a small chamber filled with artifacts. There were beautifully crafted masks, intricately woven baskets, and statues of the tribe's ancestors. But what caught Kofi's eye was a large, ornate chest in the center of the chamber. He approached it with a mix of excitement and trepidation. With trembling hands, Kofi opened the chest. Inside, he found more items like those in the wooden box, seeds, jewelry, and another journal. But there was something else, something that made Kofi's heart skip a beat. It was a letter addressed to him. Kofi carefully unfolded the letter and began to read. It was written in a script he could barely decipher, but the message was clear. "To Kofi, the chosen one, you have shown great courage and determination. These gifts are meant for you and your people. Use them wisely, and you will bring prosperity to your village. Remember, the true power lies not in the gifts themselves, but in the spirit of giving and the strength of your heart." Kofi felt a surge of emotion as he read the letter. He knew that he had been given a great responsibility, but he also felt a sense of purpose. He carefully packed the items back into the chest and made his way out of the cave, eager to return to the village and share his discovery. When Kofi returned, the villagers gathered to hear his story. They were amazed by the artifacts and the message he had received. Chief Jabari praised Kofi for his bravery and wisdom, and the village celebrated their newfound hope. Over the following months, the seeds Kofi had planted grew into bountiful crops, providing food for the entire village. The knowledge from the journals helped the villagers improve their farming techniques and heal the sick. Kofi's discoveries brought prosperity and unity to the Bakari tribe, and he became a beloved figure in the village. But Kofi never forgot the true lesson of the gifts. He continued to explore, learn, and share his knowledge, always guided by the spirit of giving and the strength of his heart. And as he grew older, he passed on the stories and teachings to the next generation, ensuring that the legacy of the giver would live on. And so, the tale of the poor orphan who found the mysterious gifts became a legend in the Bakari tribe, a reminder that even the humblest among us can make a difference, and that the true power lies in the spirit of giving and the strength of the heart. Kofi's journey had only just begun. With the prosperity brought by the mysterious gifts, the Bakari tribe flourished. However, Kofi's curiosity and desire to learn more about the world beyond his village grew stronger. The journal he had found in the cave hinted at other secrets and ancient knowledge scattered across the land. Kofi felt a calling deep within his heart to uncover these mysteries. One evening, as the villagers gathered around the bonfire, Kofi approached Chief Jabari. "Chief, I have learned much from the journal and the gifts, but I believe there is more to discover beyond our village. I wish to embark on a journey to uncover the secrets of our ancestors and bring back more knowledge to help our people." Chief Jabari, a wise and understanding leader, looked thoughtfully at Kofi. "Your courage and determination have already brought us great fortune, Kofi. If you believe this journey is necessary, you have our support. But remember, the world beyond our village can be dangerous. You must be prepared for any challenges you may face." Kofi nodded, determined to succeed. He spent the next few days preparing for his journey, gathering supplies and studying the journal for clues about where to go next. Mama Sisi, though worried, helped him pack and offered her blessings. "Be safe, Kofi. Trust in the wisdom of our ancestors and the strength within you." With a heavy heart and a determined spirit, Kofi set off early one morning, leaving the familiar sights and sounds of his village behind. His journey took him through dense forests, across wide rivers, and over rugged mountains. Each step brought new challenges and discoveries, and Kofi's determination never wavered. One day, as Kofi was traveling through a thick jungle, he came across a group of people from a neighboring tribe, the Nyoka. They were known for their deep connection to the natural world and their ability to communicate with animals. Kofi introduced himself and explained his quest. The Nyoka welcomed him warmly and offered to share their knowledge. Kofi spent several days with the Nyoka, learning about their ways and their relationship with nature. They taught him how to understand the language of the animals and how to use plants for healing. Kofi was fascinated by their wisdom and grateful for their hospitality. Before he left, the Nyoka chief, a wise woman named Zuri, gave him a small amulet. This amulet will protect you on your journey. It is a symbol of the bond between our tribes. Kofi thanked Zuri and continued on his way, feeling stronger and more confident. His next destination, as indicated by the journal, was a distant desert, where an ancient city once thrived. The journey through the arid landscape was harsh and unforgiving, but Kofi pressed on, driven by the hope of discovering more secrets. After days of traveling under the scorching sun, Kofi finally reached the ruins of the ancient city. The once great metropolis was now a desolate wasteland, but Kofi could sense the history that lay buried beneath the sands. He spent days exploring the ruins, deciphering inscriptions, and piecing together the stories of the people who had once lived there. In the heart of the city, Kofi found a hidden chamber. Inside, he discovered more artifacts and another journal, similar to the one he had found in the cave. This journal contained detailed maps and descriptions of other ancient sites scattered across the land. Kofi's excitement grew as he realized that his journey was far from over. As Kofi prepared to leave the ancient city, he noticed a group of travelers approaching. They were traders from the far north, and they were intrigued by Kofi's presence in such a remote place. Kofi shared his story with them, and they in turn told him about a great library in a distant land that housed knowledge from all corners of the world. The traders offered to guide Kofi to the library, and he gratefully accepted. The journey to the library was long and arduous, but Kofi was determined to reach his destination. Along the way, he encountered many challenges and dangers, but he also found allies and friends who helped him on his quest. Each new experience added to his understanding of the world and strengthened his resolve. When Kofi finally arrived at the great library, he was awestruck by its size and grandeur. The library was a vast complex filled with scrolls, books, and artifacts from countless cultures and civilizations. Kofi spent weeks exploring its treasures, learning from the scholars who lived and worked there, and uncovering new knowledge that he could bring back to his village. One day, while studying an ancient manuscript, Kofi discovered a passage that mentioned a legendary healer who possessed the power to cure any illness. The manuscript described the healer's home, a hidden valley deep in the mountains. Kofi knew that this was his next destination. With a heart full of hope and a mind brimming with knowledge, Kofi set off once again, this time towards the mountains. The journey was treacherous with steep cliffs and narrow paths, but Kofi's determination never wavered. He knew that the knowledge he sought could save countless lives in his village. After days of difficult travel, Kofi finally reached the hidden valley. It was a place of breathtaking beauty, with lush vegetation and crystal-clear streams. In the center of the valley stood a small, humble hut. Kofi approached the hut and knocked on the door. An elderly woman with kind eyes opened the door. "I have been expecting you, Kofi," she said with a gentle smile. "I am Nyasha, the healer you seek. Come in and let us talk." Kofi entered the hut and told Nyasha about his journey and his quest for knowledge. Nyasha listened patiently, nodding in understanding. "You have a noble heart, Kofi, and a strong spirit. I will teach you what I know, so that you can help your people." Over the next few weeks, Nyasha taught Kofi the secrets of healing. She showed him how to use plants and herbs to cure illnesses, how to read the signs of the body, and how to harness the power of the mind and spirit for healing. Kofi absorbed her teachings with gratitude and reverence, knowing that this knowledge would be invaluable to his village. When it was time for Kofi to leave, Nyasha gave him a small bundle of healing herbs and a book of remedies. "These will help you on your journey," she said. "Remember, true healing comes from the heart and the spirit. Use what you have learned wisely." Kofi thanked Nyasha and began his journey back to his village. He felt a deep sense of fulfillment and purpose, knowing that he now possessed the knowledge to help his people in ways he had never imagined. As Kofi traveled back through the mountains, the desert, and the jungle, he reflected on his journey and the lessons he had learned. He had discovered that the world was vast and full of wonders, and that there was always more to learn and explore. He had also learned the importance of courage, perseverance, and the spirit of giving. When Kofi finally returned to his village, he was greeted with joy and celebration. The villagers were eager to hear about his adventures and the knowledge he had gained. Kofi shared his stories and teachings with them, and the village prospered even more. Kofi's journey had transformed him from a poor orphan into a wise and respected leader. His discoveries brought healing, prosperity, and unity to the Bakari tribe, and his legacy continued to inspire future generations. And so, the tale of Kofi and his journey beyond the village became a cherished story, passed down through the ages as a reminder of the power of knowledge, courage, and the strength of the heart. The Bakari village flourished under the newfound wisdom and prosperity brought by Kofi, yet life in the village held an unexpected twist. One night, as the full moon cast a silvery glow over the savannah, Kofi was awakened by a peculiar sound. It was a soft, melodic hum, unlike anything he had heard before. Intrigued, he rose quietly from his bed and followed the sound. The melody led him to the edge of the village, where an ancient baobab tree stood. The tree, sacred to the Bakari people, was said to hold spirits of the ancestors. As Kofi approached, he noticed a faint light emanating from a hollow in the tree. He peered inside and found a small, intricately carved box, similar to the one he had discovered at the river. His heart raced with anticipation as he carefully opened it. Inside the box, Kofi found a beautiful glimmering stone and a piece of parchment. The parchment bore a message written in the same script as the previous journals. The path to true wisdom lies within the heart of the mountain, where fire meets water. Puzzled but determined, Kofi knew he had to decipher the meaning of this cryptic message. The village elders, including Chief Jabari, were consulted. After much discussion, it was agreed that the heart of the mountain referred to a volcanic region far to the east, a place where few had ventured and returned. Preparations began immediately. Kofi was joined by two trusted companions, Amara, a skilled tracker with an uncanny ability to navigate the wilderness, and Django, a brave warrior known for his strength and loyalty. The three set out with provisions, guided by the map and clues from the ancient journals. The landscape changed dramatically as they traveled eastward. The lush greenery of the savannah gave way to rocky terrain and steep cliffs. The air grew hotter, and the ground beneath their feet became warm to the touch. Despite the harsh conditions, Kofi, Amara, and Django pressed on, driven by the promise of discovering more ancient wisdom. One day, as they climbed a particularly steep slope, they were confronted by a band of rogue traders. These men, known for their ruthless ways, demanded the glimmering stone Kofi carried. Refusing to part with the precious item, a skirmish ensued. Django's strength and Amara's agility proved invaluable, and together with Kofi, they managed to fend off the attackers. The trio continued, more cautious and determined than ever. As they neared the volcanic region, signs of geothermal activity became evident. Geysers erupted periodically, and hot springs dotted the landscape. The air was filled with the scent of sulfur. Finally, they reached a massive cave entrance, its walls blackened by centuries of volcanic activity. Kofi knew this was the place described in the parchment. Entering the cave, they were met with an astonishing sight. The interior was illuminated by a glowing lake of molten lava, and at its center, a small island surrounded by a thin, shimmering mist. The island was accessible only by a narrow natural bridge. With great care, the three companions crossed the bridge and reached the island. In the center of the island stood an ancient altar, upon which lay another carved box. Kofi opened it to find an amulet and another piece of parchment. This time, the message read, "To unlock the secrets of the past, unite the power of fire and water with the wisdom of the heart." As Kofi pondered the meaning, Amara noticed a small spring of water trickling down the side of the cave, creating a pool near the edge of the lava lake. Realizing the significance, Kofi took the amulet and dipped it into the water before holding it over the lava. The amulet began to glow, and a hidden compartment in the altar opened, revealing a scroll. The scroll contained detailed knowledge of ancient healing techniques lost to time. It described how to harness the elements to cure diseases and strengthen the body and mind. Kofi and his companions knew that this knowledge was invaluable and could bring even greater prosperity to their people. With their new discovery, they carefully made their way back to the village. The return was filled with challenges, but their spirits remained unbroken. Each step was a reminder of their mission's importance and the impact it would have on their community. Upon their arrival, the village erupted in celebration. Kofi shared the newfound knowledge with the elders, who immediately began to implement the healing techniques described in the scroll. The Bakari tribe's health and vitality flourished, and their reputation as a wise and prosperous people spread far and wide. As time passed, Kofi continued to explore and uncover the secrets of their ancestors, always guided by the spirit of giving and the strength of his heart. His adventures brought him and his people closer to understanding the rich history and wisdom that had been passed down through generations. And so, the legacy of the poor orphan who found the mysterious gifts grew, inspiring countless others to seek knowledge and embrace the power of generosity and courage. The village of the Bakari tribe was thriving like never before. Under Kofi's guidance, the newfound knowledge brought health and prosperity. However, one evening, as the villagers gathered around the fire for their nightly tales, an old man from a distant tribe arrived, seeking an audience with Chief Jabari. The stranger was frail but carried an air of wisdom and urgency. "I am Mosi from the Anansi tribe," the old man began, his voice trembling yet resolute. "Our people are suffering from a great affliction, a curse that no one can cure. I have heard of your tribe's newfound wisdom and the brave young man who brought it to you. I beg you, help us." Kofi, listening intently, felt a deep compassion for Mosi and his people. Chief Jabari, seeing the determination in Kofi's eyes, gave a nod of approval. "Go with Mosi, Kofi. Aid his people as you have aided ours." Kofi prepared quickly, bringing with him the scrolls of healing techniques and the amulet of protection given to him by the Nyoka. Amara and Jengo, loyal as ever, insisted on accompanying him once more. The three, along with Mosi, set out towards the Anansi village at dawn. The path to the Anansi tribe led through dense forests and treacherous swamps. They encountered wild animals and poisonous plants, but Amara's tracking skills and Jengo's strength ensured their safe passage. Mosi guided them with his intimate knowledge of the land, though his age made the trek difficult. After days of arduous travel, they reached the Anansi village. The sight that greeted them was disheartening. The villagers were weak and sickly, their faces marked with despair. The village shaman, a woman named Nia, approached them with a mixture of hope and skepticism. "You have come far, but can you truly lift this curse?" she asked, her voice heavy with doubt. Kofi, unwavering, stepped forward. "We will do everything in our power to help. Show us the afflicted." Nia led them to a central hut where the sick were being cared for. The symptoms were unlike anything Kofi had seen before. The afflicted suffered from high fevers, severe rashes, and debilitating weakness. Kofi and his companions immediately set to work. Using the healing techniques from the scrolls, Kofi prepared remedies from local herbs and plants. He instructed the villagers on how to care for the sick, emphasizing cleanliness and the importance of fresh water. Amara and Jengo assisted tirelessly, gathering necessary supplies and comforting the fearful villagers. As they worked, Kofi began to notice a pattern. The symptoms pointed to a poisonous plant that grew near the village's water source. Realizing this, he instructed the villagers to avoid the plant and helped them find a new, uncontaminated water supply. Over the next few days, the remedies began to take effect. The villagers' condition slowly improved, and hope returned to the Anansi tribe. During this time, Kofi also explored the village's ancient writings and artifacts, seeking any additional knowledge that might aid in their efforts. In an old weathered manuscript, he discovered a tale of a similar affliction that had once plagued the tribe centuries ago. The manuscript described a ritual that had been used to cleanse the land and restore health to the people. Nia, recognizing the significance of the discovery, agreed to perform the ritual. It involved invoking the spirits of their ancestors and making offerings to the gods. The entire village participated, gathering around a large fire in the center of the village, chanting and praying as Nia led the ceremony. As the ritual reached its climax, a sense of calm and renewal swept over the village. The air felt lighter, and the oppressive atmosphere lifted. Over the next few days, the health of the villagers improved dramatically. The curse was lifted, and the Anansi tribe celebrated their recovery with joyous dancing and feasting. Mosi, grateful beyond words, approached Kofi with a gift. It was a beautifully carved staff, a symbol of wisdom and leadership in the Anansi tribe. "You have saved us, Kofi. This staff represents the unity of our tribes and the wisdom you have shared. May it guide you on your path." Kofi accepted the staff with humility and gratitude. The bond between the Bakari and Anansi tribes was strengthened, and Kofi's reputation as a healer and wise leader spread further. As he, Amara, and Jengo prepared to return to their village, the Anansi people gathered to bid them farewell, their faces now filled with hope and gratitude. The return to the Bakari village was met with celebration and reverence. Kofi's experiences had enriched his understanding and brought new insights that benefited his people. He continued to share his knowledge, always seeking to improve the lives of those around him. As the days turned to weeks and weeks to months, Kofi's quest for knowledge and his dedication to helping others never waned. He remained a beacon of hope and wisdom for his tribe, always ready to face new challenges and uncover the secrets of the ancient world. The legacy of the poor orphan who found the mysterious gifts continued to grow, inspiring all who heard his story. Life in the Bakari village was serene, yet Kofi's thirst for knowledge remained unquenched. The bonds formed with the Anansi tribe and the lessons learned only deepened his understanding of the world around him. One evening, as Kofi sat under the ancient baobab tree, reflecting on his experiences, an unexpected visitor approached. It was a young girl named Zawadi, her eyes wide with urgency and determination. "Please, Kofi, I need your help," she pleaded. "My village, the Wamara, is suffering from a mysterious ailment. We have heard of your wisdom and the miracles you have performed. Will you come with me?" Kofi, never one to turn away from those in need, agreed without hesitation. Amara and Jengo, ever faithful, insisted on accompanying him once more. The trio set out with Zawadi, venturing towards the distant Wamara village, which lay beyond the Great Rift Valley. The terrain was challenging, with rocky landscapes and steep descents. Yet their resolve was unyielding. They crossed expansive grasslands and navigated dense thickets, the air growing cooler as they ascended higher. Each step was driven by the hope of alleviating the suffering of the Wamara people. Upon arrival, the sight that greeted them was dire. The villagers, usually robust and full of life, were weakened and bedridden, their faces pale and eyes dim. The village elder, a wise woman named Amina, greeted them with a heavy heart. "We are desperate, Kofi. Our people grow weaker by the day, and no remedy we have tried has worked." Kofi observed the symptoms closely, drawing upon his vast knowledge. He noted that the villagers were suffering from severe respiratory issues and suspected that something in their environment was causing the ailment. With Amara and Jengo's help, he began a thorough investigation of the village and its surroundings. They discovered that the village's water source, a nearby river, had been contaminated by a strange black substance flowing from the mountains. Realizing this was the likely cause of the sickness, Kofi knew they had to find the source of the contamination and stop it. The path to the mountains was treacherous, with sharp rocks and unpredictable weather. However, the group pressed on, driven by the urgency of their mission. As they climbed higher, the air grew colder, and they encountered patches of ice and snow, a stark contrast to the warmth of their village. At the base of a steep cliff, they discovered the source of the black substance, a hidden cave from which a dark, viscous liquid was seeping. Kofi, Amara, and Jengo entered the cave cautiously. Inside, they found a series of ancient tunnels and, at the heart of the cave, a pool of the black liquid. The substance was being produced by a strange pulsating stone at the center of the pool. Kofi knew they had to neutralize the stone to stop the contamination. Drawing on the knowledge he had gained from his previous adventures, he remembered a purification ritual described in one of the ancient scrolls. The ritual required fire, water, and the power of intention. Using flintstones, Jengo started a fire, while Amara fetched fresh water from a nearby stream. Kofi led the ritual, invoking the spirits of the ancestors and calling upon the elements to cleanse the stone. As the ritual reached its peak, the black liquid began to recede, and the stone's pulsating slowed until it was completely inert. With the source of the contamination neutralized, the trio returned to the Wamara village. They shared the news with Elder Amina and instructed the villagers to use a different water source until the river was completely clean. Kofi also prepared a herbal remedy to help cleanse the villagers' bodies of the toxins they had ingested. Over the next few days, the health of the Wamara people began to improve. The villagers regained their strength, and the village was filled with joy and gratitude. Zawadi, her eyes now shining with happiness, thanked Kofi and his companions profusely. Elder Amina presented Kofi with a beautifully crafted shield, a symbol of protection and bravery in the Wamara tribe. "You have saved us, Kofi. This shield represents our gratitude and the strength you have given us." Kofi accepted the shield with humility, knowing it was a testament to the power of unity and determination. As he, Amara, and Jengo prepared to leave, the Wamara people gathered to bid them farewell, their faces once again full of hope and vitality. The return to the Bakari village was marked by reflection and a deeper understanding of the interconnectedness of all tribes. The experiences and knowledge gained from the Wamara tribe enriched Kofi's wisdom, adding another layer to his ever-expanding quest for knowledge and healing. Kofi continued to share his insights with the Bakari people, always seeking to improve their lives and foster connections with other tribes. His legacy as a healer, leader, and seeker of truth grew, inspiring all who heard his story. The tale of the poor orphan who discovered the mysterious gifts became a cherished legend, a reminder of the boundless power of courage, unity, and the pursuit of knowledge. As the Bakari village basked in prosperity, Kofi's fame spread far and wide. His wisdom and courage became legendary, with stories of his deeds reaching distant lands. One day, a messenger from the coastal region arrived, bearing news that would once again call Kofi to action. "Great Kofi," the messenger began, bowing respectfully, "I come from the coastal tribe of Marafiki. Our people are threatened by a powerful sorcerer who has brought darkness and fear upon our land. We have heard of your extraordinary deeds and seek your help to free us from his tyranny." Kofi, ever ready to assist those in need, agreed to help the Marafiki people. Amara and Jengo, his steadfast companions, once again joined him. The trio set off towards the coast, guided by the messenger. The path to the coastal region was filled with challenges, from dense forests to treacherous cliffs overlooking the ocean. The air grew salty as they neared the coast, and the sound of crashing waves echoed in the distance. Upon arrival, they found the Marafiki village shrouded in an unnatural gloom. The villagers, once known for their vibrant culture and joyous spirit, were now fearful and despondent. The village elder, a wise man named Bahati, greeted them with hope in his eyes. "Kofi, you are our last hope. The sorcerer known as Mwizi has stolen our sacred totem, the heart of the ocean. Without it, our land has fallen into darkness." Kofi listened carefully, understanding the gravity of the situation. "Where is Mwizi now?" he asked. Bahati pointed towards a distant island, barely visible through the mist. "He resides on that island, protected by dark magic. Many have tried to retrieve the totem, but none have returned." Determined to restore peace, Kofi, Amara, and Jengo set out for the island. They borrowed a sturdy canoe from the villagers and navigated through turbulent waters. The closer they got to the island, the thicker the mist became, enveloping them in an eerie silence. Upon reaching the island, they were met with an oppressive atmosphere. The trees were twisted and gnarled, and the air was filled with the scent of decay. Following a narrow path, they made their way towards the center of the island, where Mwizi's lair was said to be. As they approached, they encountered Mwizi's minions, creatures of shadow and darkness. With Amara's agility and Jengo's strength, they fought their way through, Kofi using the knowledge he had gained from the ancient scrolls to counter the dark magic. Their unity and determination saw them through the perilous journey to the sorcerer's stronghold. Mwizi awaited them in a grand chamber filled with stolen treasures and dark artifacts. He was a tall, imposing figure with eyes that gleamed with malevolence. "So the tales of the great Kofi have reached even my ears," he sneered. "But you are no match for my power." Kofi stood firm, his eyes unwavering. "We have come to reclaim the heart of the ocean and restore peace to the Marafiki people. Your reign of terror ends now." With that, a fierce battle ensued. Mwizi unleashed waves of dark magic, but Kofi and his companions fought valiantly. Amara's swift movements and Jengo's powerful strikes kept the sorcerer at bay, while Kofi used his amulet and the wisdom he had gained to weaken Mwizi's magic. At the height of the battle, Kofi saw an opportunity. He invoked the ancient purification ritual he had learned from the Wamara village, channeling the elements of fire and water to cleanse the dark magic. The room filled with a brilliant light as the ritual took effect, and Muisi's power began to wane. With one final effort, Kofi reached out and grasped the heart of the ocean, its warmth and light overpowering the darkness. Muisi let out a cry of defeat as his magic was stripped away, and he vanished into the shadows. The island's oppressive atmosphere lifted instantly, and the mist cleared, revealing the beauty of the land beneath. Kofi, Amara, and Jengo returned to the Marafiki village with the heart of the ocean, greeted by cheers and tears of joy. The villagers gathered around as Kofi handed the totem to Elder Bahati, who placed it back in its rightful place. The heart of the ocean glowed brightly, and a wave of light spread across the land, restoring its vibrancy and life. The Marafiki people celebrated their freedom and the return of their sacred totem, their village once again filled with song and dance. Elder Bahati, with deep gratitude, presented Kofi with a beautifully crafted necklace made from seashells and coral. "This is a token of our deepest appreciation. You have not only saved us but also restored our faith and hope." Kofi accepted the necklace humbly, understanding the significance of the gesture. The bond between the Bakari and Marafiki tribes was strengthened, and Kofi's reputation as a wise and courageous leader continued to grow. As Kofi, Amara, and Jengo prepared to return to their village, the Marafiki people gathered to bid them farewell, their hearts filled with gratitude and admiration. The journey back was marked by reflection and a deeper sense of purpose, knowing that their actions had brought light to a place of darkness. The Bakari village welcomed them back with open arms, eager to hear of their latest adventure. Kofi shared the story of their encounter with Mwitsi and the restoration of the heart of the ocean, further enriching the knowledge and wisdom of his people. With each challenge faced and overcome, Kofi's understanding of the world and its mysteries deepened. His legacy as the poor orphan who discovered the mysterious gifts and became a beacon of hope and knowledge continued to inspire all who heard his story. The Bakari tribe thrived under his guidance, their bonds with other tribes strengthened, and their future filled with promise and prosperity. And so, the tale of Kofi and his companions, who ventured beyond their village to bring light and wisdom to the world, became a cherished legend, a testament to the power of courage, unity, and the unending pursuit of knowledge.